Hey guys, it's Tony, and we're back on the bench. And this afternoon, I just happened to be getting into doing a little take apart project here on a reel for my buddy Dan. And we're looking at a Quantum Optics Model 40 here, and it's all disassembled. This video in particular, we want to talk about ball bearings. Okay, so this thing comes up a lot, this topic, talking about ball bearings, whether they're serviceable, they're not serviceable, they're sealed, not sealed. How do you take them apart if it's possible? And what do you use for lubricants and stuff like that? So we're just going to discuss that in this video only here. So as you can see here, there's a couple of different ball bearings in this reel. I believe it's a 4-ball bearing reel, and these are 3 of them right here. Now this one is a bigger one, and these other 2 are the same size. But I've taken these apart, and it's very difficult to see here, but I'm going to do my best to show this on the camera so you can see what these actually look like. Okay, so you can see this is a bearing that can be serviced, and you have to take this ring out and then the shield off the top of it, and then you can gain access to it. Now you can't really see the bearings in there, and I haven't cleaned these yet, okay, but the symptom is that there was bearing noise essentially, and we want to see if we can get rid of that bearing noise without having to replace these bearings. So that is ultimately the goal. Now, how you do this, how you get that tiny little snap ring off, I have another video on this, but I'm going to demonstrate here again. You need a couple of small screwdrivers, basically like these, okay? And this is going to be very difficult to see on camera, but I'm going to demonstrate. You have to scribe along the bearing on the outer edge of the bearing, and then you're going to find that there's a little opening in between the ends of that ring, okay? And you have to find it, with the screwdriver, okay? And then once you do find it, you basically just have to go in with one screwdriver pressed down on one side and then the other on the other side. And it might take a few tries. In this case, we lucked out and we got our ring off. It's really hard to see, kind of a hairline thread. And then at that point, I usually find myself resorting to a thin razor blade knife like this, a box knife, and you should be able to get that pried in there so that you can get the shield off, okay? And there is our ball bearings. Now, once again, it's small, you can't really see them, okay? But what we do here at this point is we take some penetrating oil, some WD-40 is always good, and we're going to clean out all these pieces here. Okay, we're just going to flood all of that with a little WD-40. All right, and then we're going to go back with a toothbrush, such as that, just any old toothbrush, and we're just going to clean up those bearings best that we can. It was primarily this bigger bearing that was the concern. It seemed to be a little rough. And sure, you can replace them, but you got to ask yourself, is the reel worth it? Well, I don't really know what this reel cost, but my guess is that if you have to start replacing bearings on it, it's going to turn into a money pit eventually, and it may not be worth it. Okay. So you just want to go through each bearing and clean them up the best you can. All right, and then after that, you basically want to feel, the bearing, with your finger. Now, I can tell right now this bearing is still a little rough, okay, as is this one, this main one. It's got a little grind to it. This one, pretty smooth, actually. It's not too bad. So these 2 are the ones that we really need to focus on. So the only other thing that we can do is we'll take some real oil to these bearings here, and we're going to see if that smooths it out at all. It might, then again, it may not. You have to kind of let it work in a little bit. It is smoothing it out a little bit. It's probably loosening up maybe a little bit of rust, perhaps, or a little bit of sand that's caught up in there. I'm going to spend a little more time cleaning these up and see if we can't revive them. It is smoothing up a little bit now, so that's good. And that's what you need to do, is you need to service these bearings when you can. Now, if it's a sealed bearing, there's nothing you can do about that. And if it's got a grind, then you simply have to replace it, okay? And then when it comes to lubricants, just make sure you're using real oil that's made for fishing reels. Reel X, Penn Precision Oil, both of those are fine. I think Lucas makes a good reel oil also. That's very good. Okay, but just make sure that you do that. I don't pack grease in these bearings, because what happens is that grease actually prevents the balls from moving as freely as they are designed to do, and they're so small that you really need the oil to break down in between them. The grease will bog them down over time and collect dirt and contaminants and stuff like that. Okay, now to go back in the reverse order. Okay, so we've cleaned these bearings up the best we can. We've taken some real oil and flood those bearings with that real oil. Okay, and then we're going to go back with the shield on top, and it just snaps like that on top. Okay, and then you've got your ring. Okay, and all you need to do is just get it started in one corner, and then just kind of roll the rest of it around, and it should snap right in. Okay, so I hope that's helpful, because this is a topic that does come up quite often, and a lot of people want to know more about it. So if you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please make sure you do subscribe, hit the notification button. That way you will be getting all the updates as to when I have new videos coming out, and there will be quite a few more coming out here on the bench shortly, so stay tuned for those, and we'll see you next time.